Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In this lecture, we will discuss about the more MCQs on the carbohydrates and the metabolism of the carbohydrates. Let's start with the MCQs number 1. During phagocytosis, the metabolic process called respiratory burst involves activation of phagocytosis, the process in which the foreign material is engulfed by the phagocytic cells, mainly involve the lysosomal enzymes. During this process, the respiratory burst involves the activation of which enzymes? These are the oxidase. Which of these organelles function as the digestive system of the cell? Mitochondria, rough endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, or the lysosomes? The best answer is the lysosome because lysosomes are rich in different types of hydrolytic enzymes. Type 2 glycogen storage disorder is due to deficiency of alpha glucosidase, alpha galactosidase, muscle phosphorylase, or acid lipase. So it is due to alpha glucosidase. Dietary fiber is rich in cellulose. Dietary fibers mainly contain the cellulose. Which of the following is false about starvation ketoacidosis? Metabolic acidosis, smell of acetone in breath, Bendick test positive, or the Rothera's test positive? So it is the Bendick test positive. A relatively component of the electron transporting respiratory chain is flavoprotein, option B cytochrome C1, ubiquinone, or cytochrome A. The best answer is the ubiquinone. The main pathways of metabolism in brain are glycolysis and citric acid cycle, option B glycogenolysis and the gluconeogenesis, Embden-Meruf pathway and HMP shunt. HMP exon monophosphate shunt pathway is the alternate with the glycolysis, glycogenolysis and the citric acid cycle. So it is the glycolysis and the citric acid cycle that is the metabolic pathway in the brain. In glycolysis, ATP is produced by the following enzyme due to the phosphoglycerate kinase. Sites where HMP shunt can occur include HMP stands for hexone monophosphate pathway. It is also called pentose phosphate pathway. It occurs in all the area liver, WBCs, lactating mammary glands, testes. So the best answer is all of the above. Next MCQ is step in HMP hexose monophosphate pathway requiring TPP. TPP is a coenzyme. It needs the enzyme that is called the G6PD or 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase, transketolase, or transaldose. So it is a transketolase. The best answer is the transketolase. Transketolase require the TPP, thiamine pyrophosphate. TPP stand for thiamine pyrophosphate. One molecule of glucose forms how much molecule of pyruvate? It will produce 2 molecules of the pyruvate during the glycolysis. Inhibition of glycolysis by oxidation is known as Pasteur's effect. The key enzyme of gluconeogenesis is pyruvate carboxylase. Pyruvate carboxylase is the key enzyme for gluconeogenesis. All of the following are substrates for gluconeogenesis except oleic acid is not the substrate for gluconeogenesis. In TCA tricarboxylic acid cycle, substrate level phosphorylation takes place in succinyl coenzyme A2 succinate. Enzymes concerned with the citric acid cycle are found in nucleus, ribosomes, mitochondria, or non-particular cytosol. So it is the mitochondria because electron transport chain and the citric acid cycle both occur in the mitochondria. Contribution towards gluconeogenesis is by lactate. An essential for conversion of glucose to glycogen in liver is UTP. Glucose can be synthesized from all except एसिटोएसिटेट से ग्लूकोज नहीं बनता, बाकी अमीनो एसिड भी ग्लाइसरोलैक्टिक एसिड सब ग्लूकोज बनाते हैं. The tissue with the highest glycogen content per mg per 100 gram, that is the liver. So sometimes it is also with the muscles. तो अगर skeletal muscles आए तो वो भी ऑप्शन हो सकता है, लेकिन यहाँ पे चूंकि liver ऑप्शन है तो the tissue with highest glycogen content is the liver. Liver and tissue both have the highest content. During conversion of glycerol to pyruvic acid, the first glycolytic intermediate to form is dihydroxyacetone phosphate. The first product of glycogenolysis is glucose 1-phosphate. The glycogen breakdown leads to the formation of glycogen. When it breaks, it will produce the product that is called the glucose and the lactic acid, which is not which is not an oligosaccharide sugar. Galactose, lactose, maltose, and sucrose. So the best answer is the galactose. Galactose is the monosaccharide. All the others are the disaccharides. An enzyme not involved in glycolysis is glycerophosphate dehydrogenase. It is not the enzyme involved in the glycolysis. All other enzymes, inulase, phosphoglyceromutase, and aldolase, have their contribution in the glycolysis. Phosphofructokinase is the key enzyme of glycolysis. In TCA cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle, citrate is converted into after losing a molecule of water is cis aconitate. Cis-aconitate is the best answer. In TCA cycle, substrate level phosphorylation occurs at thiokinase. Which of the following is correctly matched? Succinyl coenzyme A to succinate 1 ATP is formed. When succinyl coenzyme A convert होता है succinate में, coenzyme A release होता है और 1 ATP बनता है. The enzyme involved in the first committed step of glycolysis is hexokinase. The end product of glycolysis under anaerobic condition is anaerobic condition में lactic acid बनता है. What highly energy phosphate compound is formed in citric acid cycle through substrate level phosphorylation? It is the GTP. The main enzyme responsible for activation of xenobiotics in detoxification is cytochrome P450. Which acid is formed in the citric acid cycle? Citric acid cycle में कौन सा acid बनता है? Oxaloacetic acid. Krebs cycles occurs in the aerobic conditions. Which of them is multi-enzyme complex? So multi-enzyme complex among these is the both pyruvate dehydrogenase and alpha-beta-glucuronidase. Which of the following statement is true? The hydrolysis of lactose yield glucose and galactose. One molecule of acetyl coenzyme A give rise to how much ATP molecule? 12 ATP molecule. Which metabolite of TCA cycle is used in detoxification of ammonia in brain? It is alpha-ketoglutarate. The compound that can give rise to glucose by gluconeogenesis is lactate. Insulin acts on which enzyme in glycolysis? Glucokinase. The rate of absorption of sugar by small intestine is highest for hexosis. Glycogen synthesis is increased by insulin. Insulin converts the glucose into glycogen. All of these reactions takes place inside the mitochondria except Krebs cycle, urea cycle, electron transportation, EMP pathway. That's also called the glycolysis. Which of the following is not a product of HMP shunt? D-pseudoheptulose 5-phosphate is not the product of HMP hexose monophosphate shunt. Adrenaline acts on which enzyme in glycogenolysis? Phosphorylase. Gluconeogenesis occurs in the liver and kidney. All are true regarding glucose 6-phosphate deficiency except that is the hyperglycemia. Blood glucose level cannot be augmented by mobilization of muscle glycogen due to lack of glucose 6 G6P hydrogenase. Galactosemia commonly is due to deficiency of galactose 1-phosphatase uridyl transferase. In which type of glycogen storage disease is hyperuricemia a feature? That is the type 1. Mcqs disease is due to deficiency of myophosphorylase. In TCA cycle, a tricarboxylic acid cycle, which is the first form. First form is the citrate. Renal threshold for glucose is 180 mg per deciliter. Which of the following enzymes use NADP as coenzyme? It is a glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. In prolonged starvation, the main energy source for brain is the ketone bodies. Increase in pyruvate and lactate is seen in which of the following deficiency? It is the thiamine deficiency. The citric acid cycle is the final pathway for oxidation of none of the above. Citric acid cycle is the final pathway for oxidation of acetyl coenzyme A or pyruvate. The uptake of glucose by liver increase following a carbohydrate meal because there is increase in phosphorylation of glucose by glucokinase. Which one of the following enzyme provide a link between glycolysis and citric acid cycle? It is a pyruvate dehydrogenase. On boiling, bendic solution is not reduced by sucrose. Ribulose is which type of these? It is the ketopentose. The predominant form of glucose in solution is glucopyranose. The carbon atom which becomes asymmetric when the straight chain form of monosaccharide changes into ring form is known as the anomeric carbon atom. A carbohydrate commonly known as dextrose is D-glucose. A heteropolysaccharide among the following is heparin is a heteropolysaccharide. Hexose monophosphate pathway shunt is of great importance in cellular metabolism because it produces NADPH. Glucose 6-phosphatase deficiency is seen in von and Jurky's disease. The distinguishing test between monosaccharides and disaccharides is Barfoed's test. Number of ATP molecules generated in the conversion of glycogen of lactate is 2. NADPH is generated by the action of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. Branching occurs in glycogen approximately after every 10 glucose units. N-acetyl glucosamine is present in hyaluronic acid. Normal specific gravity of urine is 1.01 to 1.024. Specific gravity of urine is raised in all of the following except acute glomerulonephritis में specific gravity increase नहीं होती. The heptose ketose sugar formed as a result of chemical reactions in HMP shunt is the pseudoheptulose. The epimers of glucose is galactose. The intermediate in hexose monophosphate shunt is D-ribulose. Alpha-D-glucuronic acid is present in heparin. Fructose is present in hydrolysate of both of these. Fructose is present in hydrolysate of sucrose and inulin. Restriction of salt intake is generally recommended in hypertension. Polyuria can occur in diarrhea. Gluconeogenesis is decreased by insulin. Glucose 6-phosphatase is absent or deficient in von Aeger's disease. Glucose uptake by liver cell is insulin dependent. Renal threshold for glucose is decreased in renal glycosuria. Active uptake of glucose is inhibited by fluorescein. Iodine gives a red color with the glycogen. Amylose is a constituent of starch. Synovial fluid contains hyaluronic acid. The smallest monosaccharide having furanose ring structure is ribose. Which of the following is an epimeric pair? Glucose and galactose. Alpha glycosidic bond is present in maltose. Fructose 2,6-biphosphate is formed by the action of phosphofructokinase 2. The highest concentration of fructose are found in seminal fluid. Uridine diphosphate glucose (UDPG) is required for all of the following: required for metabolism of lactose, required for synthesis of gluconic acid, a substrate for glycogen synthetase. So it is the requirement for all of these. Catalytic activity of salivary amylase requires the presence of chloride ions. The following is actively absorbed in the intestine: galactose. Debranching enzyme is absent in Doris disease. Debranching enzyme is absent in Cory's disease. McCordell's disease is due to deficiency of muscle phosphorylase. Lactate formed in muscles can be utilized through Cory's cycle. Glucose 6-phosphatase is not present in muscles and adipose tissue. Pyruvate carboxylase is regulated by all of these. Obesity that increases the risk of hypertension, diabetes mellitus, cardiovascular disease, all of these. Worldwide, the most common vitamin deficiency is that of the folic acid. Consumption of iodized salt is recommended for the prevention of endemic goiter. Serum cholesterol is decreased in thyrotoxicosis. Animal fat is in general rich in saturated and poor in polyunsaturated fatty acids. Cori cycles transfer lactate from muscles to liver. Excessive intake of ethanol increases the ratio of NADH and NAD. During starvation, ketone bodies are used as a fuel by brain. Tautomerization is the shift of hydrogen. In essential pentosuria, urine contains N-xylulose. Action of salivary amylase on starch leads to the formation of both of the above, maltotriose and maltose. Ethanol decreases gluconeogenesis by converting NAD into NADH and decreasing the availability of pyruvate. Glycogen is the protein primer for glycogen synthesis. Congenital galactosemia can lead to all of the above. Heavy proteinuria occurs in honey contains the hydrolytic products of inulin. That's all about the MCQs on the metabolism of the carbohydrates. In the further lectures, we will discuss more about the metabolism of carbohydrates MCQs. Thank you so much. That's all, and best of luck for your exams.